Hello everyone, we are done with our first topic. Now we will be moving on to our next topic, which is the development of human population. Currently, we are in a new epoch in Earth's history. This is called the Anthropocene. This is an epoch when human activities have become so profound and pervasive that they rival and exceed the great forces of nature in influencing the functioning of the Earth system. So, the early hominids, or the primitive human-like the organisms, appear in the fossil record for about 6 million years ago. The first recorded hominid was the remains of a small bipedal hominin, which is called the Sahelanthropus chadensis. Sahelanthropus chadensis is one of the oldest known species in the family tree. Walking upright may have helped these species to survive in various aspects, just like the forest and the grasses. Studies so far show that this species was the combination of the ape-like and the human-like features. So, the ape-like features include a small brain, a sloping face, very prominent brow ridges, and an elongated skull, while the human-like features include small cunning teeth, a short middle part of the face, and a spinal cord. The first recognizable human evolved about 2.5 million years ago, which is the Homo habilis, or also called as the handyman, probably during the development of Pleistocene ice ages in mid-latitude. So, their brain sizes were smaller than modern or pre-modern humans, but the cranial capacities were greater than earlier hominids. I know that you already have an idea on what are the next species that have evolved after the Homo habilis, since this is just a brief review on what we have discussed during our high school years. So, the next species that have evolved is the Homo ergaster and the Homo erectus, which has arisen 2 million years ago, which was first expanded in Asia and after expanded in Europe. And the last is the Homo sapiens, which appeared about 160 years ago in Africa and to other parts of the world. So, any questions regarding the development of the human population? None so far. So, let's now move on to hunting and gathering. Hunting and gathering constitute the oldest mode of making a living and the only one for which there is an uninterrupted record from human origins to the present. Before 10,000 years ago, humans were thought to live by means of hunting and gathering. So the population during this time was also very small, or about 5 billion. When humans started to cultivate and settle to one location, the population also started to increase. Human population eventually exploded, reaching about 1 billion by 1850, 2 billion by 1930, and 4 billion by 1974. Currently, human population is close to 8 billion. Despite of the many pandemic diseases that had passed, human population remained victorious, leading to enormous mismatch of death rate control with the birth control resulting to the growth of population. And the first human activity is the pebble tools. Pebble tools are the oldest records of human activity and technology. These were found with human bone remains in Africa, used for consumptions of meat dating. The tools became more sophisticated as Stone Age developed. During Paleolithic Age, humans started to use wood for ladders, fire, pigment or charcoal, and as digging sticks. Next activity is the seemingly omnivorous diet. In the Paleolithic Age, humans served or secured a wide range of animal meats, and they became predominantly vegetarian. This practice prompted humans to explore wide areas of our environment. So, through this diet, they obtain energy and nutrients from plants and animals by digesting carbohydrates, fats, and fibers. Third one is the development of communicative skills. So, early humans could express thoughts and feelings by means of speech or by signs or through gestures, until hominids had developed words as symbols. The possibility of transmitting and so as accumulating, and then culture existed. That's why we can now communicate with each other using our voices, using words, because of these early humans who discovered the development of the communication or the communicative skills. And the last activity was the discovering of the use of the fire. So fire is the first and most powerful tools of the environmental transformation employed by humans. It changed the courses of human evolution, allowing our ancestors to stay warm, allow them to cook food, to ward off the predators, and to venture harsh climates. So, for overall, our early ancestors, hunters and gatherers, had neither the numbers nor the skills to have a very substantial effect on the environment. They play a crucial role as to who we are and the things that we have right now. And we are finally done with our second topic, so we can finally proceed with our third topic. Thank you for listening.
Welcome, students! How was your day so far? Great? Well, good for you! Before we formally start our discussion, I will attest if you have learned something from the last discussion. Now, please give me a summarization or give me the things that you have learned from Miss Diane's discussion. Just comment down below. To continue the discussion, my topic is about humans as cultivators, keepers, and metal workers. For approximately 95% of human history, our ancestors were foragers. What is a forager? A forager is a person or an animal who goes out in search for food or provisions of any kind. At the end of the Pleistocene period, around 14,000 to 15,000 years ago, in the Middle East, including Jordan, Syria, Israel, Palestine, and Lebanon, the Natufians, or also known as the hunting folks, began laying the foundation for agricultural society. They started to make major changes for living. Now, let's move forward to the next period, the Holocene period. By around 10,000 years ago, the Holocene period, this evolution led to the domestication of plants and animals, resulting in permanent settlements and increased population densities. They constructed permanent homes using stones and woods. They also buried their dead with a ritual, gathered like communities, ground cereals using mortar and pestle, and also they made art using animal bones. Interesting, right? What is domestication? According to the National Geographic Education, domestication is a process of adopting wild animals and plants for human use. Domestic species are raised for food, work, medicine, clothing, and other many uses. Natufians and the other groups began domesticating plants and animals. The shift from foraging to farming has led to more stable food sources and enabled greater population densities, laying foundation for early towns and division of labor. The origin of agriculture is still controversial. Some believe that it was a religious reason, and others pursue the idea in changes in climate conditions. On the other hand, Carl Sauer believed that plant domestication was initiated in Southeast Asia by fishing folk, who found that lacustrine and riverine resources would enable stable economy and semi-sedentary lifestyle. Also, the maize, beans, and squash in Mesoamerica may have been domesticated for around 10,000 to 9,000 years ago. The first evidence of domestication occurred in Mediterranean lands and hilly flanks in the Middle East around 12,000 years ago. Domestication of miller in China occurred for around 10,000 years ago. Domestication of sheep, goats, pigs, and cattle took place in Near East and neighboring areas for around 10,500 years to 9,000 years ago, shortly after cats domestication occurred. But it was presumed that the first domesticated animal was a dog in the southern China because of its hunting importance. Horse was first domesticated in the steppes of Kazakhstan for around 5,500 years ago, and the chicken in South Asia, Southeast Asia, including Indus Valley and China. Wild donkey in Northeast Africa around 5,000 years ago, water buffalo during the Neolithic in various regions in South and Eastern Asia, and a pig in the Middle East and China. So that was the domestication in agriculture in ancient Athens. Another important development in agriculture was irrigation and adaptation of riverine agriculture, presumably started in Egypt around 5,050 years ago. Andrew Sherratt's model of secondary products revolution involved a widespread and broadly contemporaneous set of innovations in old world farming. In the secondary products revolution, the use of domesticated animals were also applied in agriculture, such as plugging. Textiles from animal fibers were also produced and also used for exchange. The use of milk was also developed, leading to pastoralism. For the past 300 years, the cropland and pasture areas have tremendously increased. The transformation of landscape due to deforestation may have caused modification of global climate conditions because of the release of carbon dioxide. The use of fossil fuels came in recent years. It has expanded to the development of fossil fuel machineries, allowing mining to expand. At least 28 million tons of earth materials have moved due to mining. Another important development in human history is the emergence of Neolithic cultures, the mining of ores, and smelting of metals during the 8th millennium BC. But the first evidence of smelting was found in Turkey and Jordan during the 6th millennium BC. The spread of metal works was very rapid. In 2500 BC, it already appeared in Britain and in China. That's all for my discussion about humans as cultivators, keepers, and metal workers. I hope that you have learned something from me, and if ever you have questions, please comment down below your questions and I will try to answer it. That's all. Thank you.
Hi everyone, this time we will talk about the modern industrial and urban civilization where we will know how human activities affects our nature. Now before we dive into our discussion, let me ask you something. What do you think is the connection of a population and pollution? You may comment your answers below. Just pause this video if you're gonna type in your answers. Alright, thank you so much. At the end of this discussion, I will share information on how the word population and pollution are being connected to each other. During the cereal agriculture, humans gathered in large numbers and settlements, which we call cities nowadays, with more industrialized social formations like states. Around 600 years ago, cities were developed in the basin of Tigris and Euphrates. Now, Tigris and Euphrates are located in the western part of Asia. And around 500 years ago, in the coastal of Mediterranean, the Nile Valley, the Indus Plain, and coastal Peru. Early cities with large population number have emerged, such as Nineveh in Iraq with 700,000 in population, the Augustan Rome with around 1 million in population, and the Carthage at its fall in 146 BC has 700,000 in population. Major transformations occurred in 17th century. So why 17th century? It is when the culture and technology was revolutionized for the arrival of major industries. Along with this turning point transformation was also the acceleration of human population and the development of urbanization. Highly urbanized cities emerged with center large chunk of the population. In 2010, the most popular city was Tokyo in Japan with around 36.7 million in population, followed by Delhi in India with 22.2 million in population. The Manila in the Philippines was also listed with 11.6 million in population. The aggregation of human settlements has resulted to several environmental problems, thereby increasing ecological footprints. So what is ecological footprints? Ecological footprints is an accounting for ecological resources in which various categories of human consumption are translated into areas of productive land required to provide resources and assimilate waste products. In other words, this ecological footprint make sure that resources are being sustained for the consumption of the population and also calculating the waste we produce from these resources. It also measures how sustainable the lifestyle of different populations groups are. The city's ecological footprint even rose in 20th century. So again, why 20th century. Why not 19th century? It is because human population in this time reaches more than 7 billion and the world economy goes up to more than 15 folds, including the use of energy. When we say 15 folds, it's like 15 times the original amount of the economy. So when the human population goes up, the economy also increases. Now, to measure the human impact in the biosphere, these 6 indicators were monitored. First is the deforested areas. Second, terrestrial vertebrate diversity. CO2 releases or carbon dioxide releases. Population size, water withdrawals, and the N releases or the nitrogen releases. The agglomeration of population comes with various stages of pollution in Earth's history. First, we have the pollution microbial or pollution bacterial. This is caused by bacteria living and developing in decaying and putrefying materials and stagnant water associated with settlements of growing size. It is a pollution where you can usually see in waters, stagnant waters, and any other rotting materials. Second, we have the pollution artisanal, associated with small-scale craft industries such as tanneries, potteries, and other workshops carrying out various or rather disagreeable tasks, including soap manufacture, bone burning, and glue making. Third, we have pollution industrial, involving large-scale and pervasive pollution over major centers of industrial activity, particularly from the early 19th century. Now, if the pollution artisanal is just a small scale because it's just for the craft industries, like pot making, the pollution industrial is different because it involves large scales like factories and other large scale areas which produces something that can make the nature polluted. Fourth, we have pollution fundamental. Pollution effects. The whole regions are affected, like the desiccation and subsequent salination of the Aral Sea. Aral Sea is an area where the ocean had dried up and there's only 1/4 left on it. So this also considered as a pollution. Fifth, we have pollution foncier. Vast quantities of chemicals are deliberately applied to the land, such as fertilizers and biocides. Now, the best example for this is the pesticide which farmers use on the grasses so they will be dried up easily. Now, because of these chemicals, the natural minerals of the soil are being banished, and these chemicals causes pollution on the soil. Lastly, we have pollution accidental. Major accidents can cause pollution which neither foreseen nor calculable. Now, the best example for this is the Chernobyl nuclear disaster in 1986, where the nuclear power plant exploded and released a large amount of radiation into the atmosphere. These devastating human activities may lead us to improvement. However, we must also put in mind that this damages is not irreversible. Now, the connection of population and pollution is when population rises, the pollution also increases. This is because a lot of people is using materials that can be harmful to our environment, just like using things or chemicals on producing something that may lead to water pollution and such. But we can prevent extreme pollution by starting to do good things, just like what our university is doing right now, the single-use plastic-free environment. We can make a difference and be a model to others just by doing such thing. So that concludes our discussion. Thank you so much and have a great day. Thanks for watching.